ready.
Hey everybody, Jcc2224 back, and you know what else is back? The blue background. Oh man, I actually really missed it, and I know a lot of you guys did too. I'm really happy to see the blue background again. You know, I was kind of thinking, I kind of enjoyed making videos less after I got rid of the blue background. I'm not exactly sure why. It's probably because this blue background's been around for me for ever since 2011. And I know for new people clicking on this video, you're thinking, oh, just get to the clone troopers already. But hey, this is important to me. The blue background is a staple of Jcc2224. It was a mistake to get rid of it. And yes, if you're wondering, JCC 2.0 will continue with the blue background. It's here to stay. So, with that happiness out of the way, let's get on to the dreadfulness that is the topic of this video. I had to do it eventually. I had to do this eventually. I knew for my every single clone trooper ever project that I'm working on, I gotta get all of these. And I just got the last one I needed from these, and I don't regret getting it. I don't regret getting the last one I needed to complete every single 5 POA Saga Legends clone trooper ever released in the Hasbro Star Wars 3 3/4 scale. That was actually a pretty good way to put that in. But I just look at this collection and I'm not proud of it, because not only are the figures kind of lackluster, but it also represents a downfall in the Hasbro Star Wars 3 3/4 scale, where the figures just, they got worse. I actually supported Saga Legends when it came out. I was thinking, yeah, alongside the Black Series 3 3/4, this works. This works really nice. It works fine. Kids and parents have an alternative to get, oh, hey, I want a Clone Trooper figure for like $6. Hey, there you go. But it quickly became the only choice if you want Star Wars 3 3/4 figures. You did have the Walmart figures. You could go to Walmart, see if maybe the new figures had been stocked. But other than that, and by the way, Walmart is the worst place to have exclusives, this very quickly became all we had. And this, for the majority, is kind of the most recent Clone Trooper figures released. There's a few in the Black Series 3 3/4. I look at this, and there's some figures in here that are actually pretty nicely painted. There's others that are very poorly painted, and there's some that even have really bad sculpts. But enough with the introduction of this. Let's start talking about the individual figures, and let's start off with not only the first one they kind of released, but also the last one I needed to complete this terrible set. This, my friends, is the Attack of the Clones Phase 1 figure, as it is represented in the Hasbro Star Wars 5 POA range. Now, if you're wondering, what does 5 POA mean? It means 5 points of articulation. That means that every single one of these figures has a swivel at the head, swivel at the shoulders, swivel at the legs. That's it. If you want him to hold his gun with 2 hands, sorry. If you want him to actually bend his knees, sorry. If you want him to turn his waist, sorry. If you want him to look up, sorry. If you want him to pretty much do anything besides kind of stand there, turn his head, sorry. You can't really do much with these things. But they are kind of nice looking collectibles sometimes. If they're nicely painted. If they're nicely painted, they look nice. And there's a few of these that are nicely painted, and very, very fortunately, this is one of them. I look at this figure and I see a pretty nice representation of the Attack of the Clones Clone Trooper. It just looks nice. The paint's nice. They're not really missing any deco here. It's got all of the black undersuit details. It's got pretty much all the helmet details you need. It doesn't have the blue little stripes along the sides, but hey, it's just a Phase 1 clone. It doesn't have the red dot back there either, but that's such a minor detail. A lot of even non-5 POA figures don't paint that on. It's an alright figure for what it is, and it was only $6 when it came out, so I can't really complain too much about this one. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna get the nice looking ones out of the way. This is the Shock Trooper 5 POA figure, and yeah, it's 5 POA. It's not really missing a lot of deco. I believe it's missing the gray behind the helmet there, but it looks nice. You know, it just kind of looks nice. I'm actually very pleased with the deco on this. It's better than the Black Series 6-inch, I can tell you that. They got the markings in their proper places. I think it looks pretty nice. I don't have any complaints with the looks. Yet again, it's a 5 POA figure, so, you know, what can you do? As you can see, this DC-15 carbine is cheaper looking than the ones released previously throughout the years, but it still looks alright. And this came with the Shock Trooper, the Phase 1 you see back there, as well as others. So it's pretty much the only weapon these guys have, and if you want them shooting, that's what you can do. They're just gonna point at you. It looks very vintagey, which I guess is the aesthetic they were going with. Next up, we have the 501st, which was released in a Mission Series set with Anakin Skywalker, and I really want to thank fan Danny for sending this to me. He sent it to me along with the turbo tank. Thank you so much, Dan. I really appreciate having this thing. It was one of the last ones I needed, and unfortunately, this one doesn't hold up as well as the Shock Trooper because it is missing some deco. As you can see, it's missing the little blue stripes along the wrist there. It's missing all of the blue along the legs. It's missing the blue on the back. There's probably a few other details it's missing. I think it looks alright. It looks alright still. I'm actually quite the fan of this shade of blue. If you couldn't guess, blue is my favorite color, so I'm quite a fan of this shade. Now, if you know me, I love the 212th Commander Cody. He's my favorite Star Wars character. I love the 212th Legion. It's my favorite Legion, or Attack Battalion, I should say. And this figure was graciously sold to me by Official Opinion. Thank you very much, man. I also really appreciate having this thing, even though, like the 501st, it's kind of bad, but unlike the 501st, they actually got all of the paint deco accurate on this guy, besides, of course, yet again, the gray should probably be there. But it looks nice. It's, yet again, a pretty decent-looking figure. I don't really have any complaints with the looks of it. Yet again, I have complaints with the articulation, because what can you really do with this thing besides... Like, he looks dumb holding the gun up, so he can stand there in your army. He can maybe turn his head to pay attention to the commander. I can't really think of much else he can really do. Speaking of the commander, I think we should probably stop talking about the ones that actually look really nice, and let's go down the rabbit hole. Listen, I love Commander Cody. Commander Cody, like I said, is my favorite. He's just my favorite. He's my main man. But this figure looks like crap. This is terrible. I look at this thing, and I just think, what went wrong? There is tons of paint deco missing. There's the gray stripes along the arms missing. The little strap here, not painted. The backpack, not painted. The belt, that should be orange, not painted. There's various little armor bits here that should be painted, but aren't. There's the undersuit. It's just white on the knees, and it's just white on the neck. On the neck, that looks so jarring without it. It has no weathering, has no battle scarring. It's missing the little white stripes along the visor right there. It's missing the paint on the floodlight. There's the little antenna there. They should be silver. And let's just take a look at that face. What is going on there? It looks so derpy. I look at this face, and I think, what went wrong? Did a blind person paint this? Now, if you're wondering how this was released, it was released in the original Saga Legends line, single-carded, but it was also released in 2015 with the Force Awakens line, with an Obi-Wan Kenobi in a 2-pack. They actually re-released this thing without really updating the paint deco. The paint deco is slightly redone on that, but it's just a production thing. They didn't actually consciously redo the figure, so I don't consider it a variation. And they didn't add any of the orange. Even when the budget went up for The Force Awakens, they changed to nothing with this figure, and I look at this thing and I think, oh my god, this may be the worst Commander Cody ever released, because it probably is. Please leave my presence. I didn't want that to happen. Let's talk about the most popular clone trooper, Captain Rex. This figure was released right alongside Commander Cody, and it looks a little better. I got this because there was no realistic 3 3/4 inch Phase 2 Captain Rex figure out yet. I saw this, thought, hey, it might look nice with my 501st, and it kinda does. As you can see, the blue is very muted. You can see, even compared to the blue for the eyes up there, which, by the way, are off-center, of course, you can see this blue is way more muted, and that's a way richer blue. It's like the 501st blue. You can see this is such a nicer shade of blue than this. It's kind of very dark. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Of course, there's some paint deco missing. There's the weld marks, which are actually sculpted on the torso. I'm very surprised that those aren't painted. Of course, there's various little tally marks that probably should have been painted but weren't. You can see the shoulder pad paint's off-centered, of course. But other than that, it's fairly respectable? Question mark. He does come with 2 little DC-17s. That's all he came with, and he holds them all right, and I just dropped it. Where'd it go? There it is. I look at this figure, and I'm not as upset as I was with Commander Cody, but I look at this figure, and I look at the Black Series 3¼ inch, and this thing is completely obsolete, and if you're not a completist like me, please pass on this. Oh, Commander Gree, what did they do to you? Oh man, this is the Phase 1 Clone Wars Commander Gree, surprisingly. I'm actually very surprised that they decided to go with this Gree instead of the Phase 2, given how the Phase 2 Gree is way more iconic. This is a very interesting choice. I can see that the paint, yet again, is kind of off-center. Of course, there's the undersuit that isn't painted around the shoulders, and even the knees, the undersuit's just green. That looks really weird. I'm not sure what's going on there. He's got the strap, which is a removable piece, if you can try to get it off, but I'm not going to try. I think it's a very, very similar mold to the Phase 1. I think they just gave it a new... they might have just glued the piece on, honestly. They might have just given him this strap here, and they might have just glued on the little holster for the DC-17 pistol. That'd be a very interesting way to make it. That'd probably be how I'd make it. But just looking at this thing, I spent $8 on this, and I actually got it quite recently because I needed this in Commander Bly, and we'll get to Commander Bly. We'll talk about him last. But I must apologize here. The Rebels 5 POA Captain Rex doesn't actually look this good. I weathered it myself. I used my shoe polish trick to give him the more show-accurate weathering on his armor. It should be all clean white. And yet again, this video is very, very fueled by people helping me out. Big shout out to the Comic Figure blog for helping me get this thing. And it's a nice figure. It's actually one of the nicest here. You can see, especially with the weathering, the sculpt is very nice. You can see the paint on the helmet is very exquisite with the blue and the eyes. They got the markings right. They pretty much did a damn good job replicating this. And yet again, it comes with DC-17 pistols. He's got his boots with, I don't even want to know, baby vomit on them. I look at this thing, and unlike the others where I'm just kind of disappointed, I see happiness. This is actually one of the only ones. This is actually the only one that does not have a better version of this character in the 3¼ inch scale. This is the only Rebels Captain Rex you can get. And look at that! He's got a removable helmet. That's actually the only character here with a removable helmet. And look at that face. Look at the face. It is a very, very nice sculpt. And unlike the others where it's just swivels for the heads, this guy actually has a ball joint. So you can move his head up, you can tilt his head a bit. You have more expression with pretty much the only useful point of articulation. It's a good figure for what it is, honestly. And especially if you weather the armor like I did, it's a very show-accurate representation of Rex, and one I am not ashamed to have. Can we please get Gregor and Wolf now? I'd love to have that. I really, really didn't want to talk about this thing, but I do. This, like... If you saw the previous Clone Corner with Blyvis and the weird Commander Gree, this figure upsets me for similar yet different reasons. A big reason it upsets me is because the paint is absolutely atrocious. If you look at the deco, you can see he's missing so much detail. He has almost... I don't think he has any black undersuit on him. All of it is just white. Look, none of the undersuit is painted black on this guy at all. It looks horrendous. But Commander Bly also had a darker brown that was over this mustard yellow. This figure doesn't have any. Comes with the DC-17 carbines, but he also has the visor. You see that? You see that visor on his face where, by the way, his mouth vent is not painted. It looks really terrible, but you move this up, right? Or you want to move this up. You try to move this up. It doesn't, it just pops off. Look. The size doesn't work. I don't know if it's just my copy. I have some bad luck. Well, it just flew off. Look at his face underneath. Look at the pattern of that paint deco. Oh my god. I'm going to give that a try because the sculpt on this is actually more accurate. As you see, I pop it on and it just goes over his eyes. And I even kind of keep it squeezed and I move it up and there's just not enough room. Like, you can see it's coming off. The visor does not go up. I'm not sure if it's because the plastic is molded so poorly or what. You can see this is a separate piece. Head's just on a swivel. Well, that just completely flew across the room. You're not going to see that again. And I'm going to save this till last because it's funny. All of these clones, except for the Rebels Rex, have really big feet. I don't know why. Is it because they can't move at all? So they just have these really huge feet? They look like clown shoes. It's how they kind of just... it's how they kind of pancake out. The feet are so huge on these that you would think there's no way they're going to fall over. But let's take a look at the Captain Rex. Look at his feet. This is him standing completely straight. Look at how his feet are bent. The quality control is amazing on these figures, and I recommend you buy all of them. This was painful. This was a painful video to make. Now, granted, I feel like half of this collection, out of these, what was it, out of these 9 figures, I feel like 4 of them, actually 5 of them, are really, really good for what they are. I think he's pretty good. He's pretty good. Nah, he's not really that good. He's missing a lot of deco. He's all right, and he's all right. I think some of them are all right. I think Cody is one of the worst. I think Bly is the worst. I think Gree is all right. I think these just... I'm trying to view them as what they are instead of trying to compare them with the way better figures. Because if you compare them to the way better figures, these things don't hold a candle to them. Even the Rebels Rex, which is arguably the best, they don't hold a candle because they can't move how the others can. They can't pose like the others can. The most poses you can get with these is just maybe turning their heads or sitting them in a vehicle. I don't know. I'm going to end the video here. I've been talking about these way too long because it's a very interesting topic. The whole topic of 5 points of articulation and the future of Star Wars action figures is very interesting. And I'm looking forward to see what they do next. I really am. I'm hoping TVC's return will be glorious and we'll get all the clone troopers we wanted. Maybe we'll get TVC repaints for the Commander and Captain finally. Maybe we'll get that. I'm going to end this video here, guys. I've been yapping way too long, but I hope you guys enjoyed the return of the blue background and these terrible figures. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my social medias if you have a chance. They are in the description below. Have a good day, guys, and as always, may the Force be with you. Bye.
Mission accomplished, sir.